Hi everyone, welcome to the Secret Moves of TikTok Marketing webinar. My name is Eva Song. I'm a student recruitment manager at APC and EU. It's really great to see many students are joining this joint webinar between APC and Social Media College. Today, we are going to have this webinar led by Social Media College. So let me introduce Natalia, Social Media Product Director at Social Media College. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Let's start the webinar. It seems really interesting topic.
Yes, I'm so excited to get started talking about it. I think that TikTok's becoming, kind of the talk for everyone in the marketing realm. So happy to just kind of dive straight in, unless there's anything else you want to add before we get going.
No, it's good. It's good to start.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's see here. Just to introduce myself again, so I'm Natalia Grabovoy. I'm the social media product director at Social Media College, as was mentioned. So I've been working in the social media industry for over 7 years. I've come from Chicago. You'll probably hear my accent a few times as we speak. But I've been working for global brands like Groupon and the Every Girl and helping to grow those accounts, particularly on Instagram, and hit targets like 1 million followers during my time with the Every Girl. So on a personal note, I've definitely spent a lot of my time over the past few years really focused on Instagram, but TikTok is becoming this very exciting new platform, and it's certainly where the focus is at these days. So I'm becoming a bit of a TikTok addict myself. I'll be curious to hear if anyone else is falling in line with that. We'll be chatting about that shortly, but I'm really excited today to just kind of jump in and start covering some topics on how you can use TikTok in your marketing strategy. So that kind of gets our introduction going. But to start off, I definitely want to hear what your TikTok experience looks like. So I think there's a bit of a poll that you might be able to take here. So if you're able to, go ahead and rate your level of experience, starting from beginner, which would just be maybe you've never used the app at all, or you've only opened it a few times, to moving on to casual, just kind of scrolling through. Perhaps you've posted once or twice, gotten your feet wet, all the way to experienced. You're constantly on there. You're posting all the time. Would love to kind of hear where the group falls. Okay, great. So it looks like we've got a pretty average beginner group here, which is really exciting because we're going to be covering kind of everything that you need to know from getting started all the way through working on your strategies. So this is the perfect place to be if you are a beginner. All right, so to just jump on in, we're going to start off with a quote, but this is by Gary Vee, who a lot of you have probably heard of. He's a really big content producer when it comes to social media marketing. He puts out a lot of videos surrounding this, and so this is a quote of his from back in 2019, and he said, "I'm fascinated by other apps that could act as utilities first, and then build a social network on top of it." So one thing we're going to delve into a lot today is the fact that TikTok really started off as kind of more of a tool than anything else. It was really a creative tool, and then it became this sort of mega social media platform, which is very similar to kind of YouTube's journey. It sort of stumbled into the social side of it, whereas it started off as really a utility for uploading and posting videos. So those of you who have played around with TikTok a little bit, you might be familiar with the fact that it's got some really great resources for creatives to make their content, and that is the main reason why the platform has taken off in such popularity to begin with. Now, as we go through, we will be comparing TikTok to a few other platforms that you are likely a bit more familiar with. So again, those of you who haven't been, on TikTok itself, you've probably at least seen some similar features on other social media networks, particularly due to Facebook, which is now Meta, really trying its best to compete with TikTok. It has noted this popularity in video content particularly, and it's trying to compete with the success of TikTok. So Instagram launched Instagram Reels back in 2020. And that has a very similar functionality to TikTok. So if you've already kind of gotten familiar with Reels, a lot of TikTok should be quite familiar to you. So really just Facebook saw TikTok was exploding and they were like, Okay, great. How can we copy that for ourselves and launch that on our own platform? And you also see YouTube having done something similar with YouTube Shorts, which is a very similar way of creating content and publishing it. And really then what started off as such a unique element to TikTok has kind of resulted in these duplicates shortly thereafter across the other mega social platforms. So I guess mimicry is the greatest form of compliment. But really, it's just a big testament to how powerful video content is today. You really can't have a successful social media app without offering some prolific video capabilities and content. So it's just so engaging, and it has the best creator tools and things like that. So certainly somewhere that TikTok is still, I think, taking the lead is the creator element that really allows you to make some very engaging and interesting content. And just a little bit of history on TikTok as well. It kind of seems like it blew up out of absolutely nowhere. And some of you might not even be familiar with kind of the roots of the app. So it actually started off back in 2014 with Musical.ly. So that's when Musical.ly was launched. If any of you were familiar with that or used it, I didn't particularly use that app, but it was a lot of the kind of lip syncing and singing that you see, and especially saw at the first wave of TikTok, because it was merged into TikTok and it became the present day app, and they just stuck with the TikTok name. So Musical.ly users were able to record videos of 15 seconds to 1 minute. And it was, again, one or multiple shots with a lot of the lip syncing sounds, comedy music. So that platform really helped popularize short form content, much like Vine did in 2013. So we do have a few predecessors, which are worth noting. But Musical.ly allowed for some editing within the app. So you had those preset filters and the effects that allowed you to change the speed or reverse the motion of the video. So then when Musical.ly was acquired by this, it's actually a Chinese company. It's this huge internet giant called ByteDance. The app was merged, and a lot of those features kind of moved over. So users could still produce these videos between 15 seconds and a minute in length, but they were now able to access, more filters and more effects. And they offered some smoother editing and publishing tools as well. Okay, so there are some really interesting statistics surrounding TikTok just to highlight the growth that the platform has seen. So it's definitely, it started off really as this Gen Z app, or that is kind of what it was known as, but it has expanded far beyond that. It's now been downloaded over 3 billion times. It's already surpassed Twitter, Reddit, Pinterest, Snapchat, and a lot of apps in these monthly users. And it just leads the way in engagement, really. It has an average session length of 10.85 minutes, which is double Pinterest. And the time spent on TikTok in 2019 was 68 billion hours. So we know it's definitely grown since then. And we've got a little bit more of an even disparity of our user base in terms of ages that are using TikTok. It really is still leaning a bit towards Gen Z, but we've expanded into a lot of these other age groups as well. And certainly it's very popular in Australia. It's very popular globally. And yet TikTok users report spending an average 46 minutes per day on the app. So that just shows you, the power that this platform has. If you can be seen on that platform, you've got so many people using it for such a significant part of the day, and those numbers, only keep increasing. So a lot of the features that are built into the TikTok app as well, people are really comfortable using them. So it has, it speaks to why the platform has been so successful. It's actually not as tricky as it might seem at first. So one of the, biggest advantages to the TikTok app layout is the fact that they have predominantly vertical video. So this user interface makes it very easy to use. You're going from one video to the next in a continuous scroll, and it looks really clean because the video takes up the full screen, which is, different from how we've formerly seen video in that landscape mode. Having the vertical, allows people to also film something on their phone pretty easily and intuitively. not have to adjust, which a lot of people aren't doing. We really do want to just grab our phone and film something and have it be quick and easy. So the app really conforms to kind of user norms today, and it really speaks to that. And definitely, you know, Facebook and Instagram, you do have that scrolling element. You are able to go between, you know, posts on your timeline and your feed, but you're seeing multiple posts at once when you go through your feed on those two platforms. Whereas with TikTok, it's just one video at a time. So that is a real advantage to think about. You've got people's undivided attention when they are looking at your video on TikTok. It kind of could be equated to having like a full spread in a magazine or a newspaper. You're taking up that whole page. So the majority of users who use TikTok are definitely using the mobile app. There is a desktop ability, but they're really just using mobile. And you might also be familiar with the vertical video production now because of Reels. So if you've dabbled in Reels at all, you've probably, you know, made some vertical videos and published those, but we definitely would not encourage just repurposing content over to TikTok. That's something to keep in mind, unless it is, you know, really in the right format and can really be viewed kind of organically and look good on the TikTok app. But if it's something that's a bit more horizontal, you're not really capturing that full screen effect, and it will look a little bit more obviously repurposed, which is something that, you know, viewers are savvy to on the TikTok app. They're definitely going to notice. So you want to be making content that looks native to the platform. And vertical video is definitely one of the most unique elements of TikTok. So to just get a bit familiar with TikTok, you've got kind of this sort of feed view here. So if we go to the bottom, you'll see you have your home icon in the bottom left. That's where you'll tap to just go ahead and watch that endless stream of content that we mentioned. And you know, TikTok has this feed a lot like other social media channels where you can just view, you know, other content, other people's content. And you can actually split that view in between following or for you, which you'll see circled at the top of the screen. So you can toggle between those two, you know, freely. And you're going to be getting delivered in your following section the content that is, you know, people that you've actually chosen to follow. So this is your friends, this is your family. It actually allows you to filter out all the other content you're going to be fed and just focus on the content from the people you've selected to follow. Whereas with the For You, that's going to be more of your curated feed. That's where TikTok is using its algorithm, having determined your interests to try and feed you some of the, you know, content that it expects you're going to want to see. So this is a really nice, I think, split. It keeps it very clean and simple and easy to use. You might also be wondering, you know, this is similar to the Instagram Explore page. How is the algorithm kind of determining what your interests are? So when you set up your profile, you will be prompted to put some of your interests down so you can kind of get started on the app. So it'll ask you like, are you interested in sports? Are you interested in cooking? Like those types of suggestions. But then there are also some key factors that will influence the newsfeed order you see in your For You. So this includes user interaction. So your own interaction with other people's content. If there's a creator whose content you love, you're constantly liking it and commenting on it, it's more likely that TikTok is going to feed you their videos. And you also have just kind of other things like captions or hashtags that you've interacted with before. TikTok will probably try to show you more within that category, as well as other, you know, settings actually, just like location. That's definitely taken into account. So if you live in Australia, you're likely going to see a lot of Australian creators when you get started. It's just going to assume that that's the content that's most relevant to you, and it's going to be feeding you that content. So moving over to the magnifying glass at the bottom of your profile there, that's your Discover section. So this is where, you know, kind of self-explanatory. You're going to be able to search for, you know, different users. You can also find trending hashtags here that you want to, you know, maybe explore, but you can just search for anything really. You can search for content, users, songs, hashtags, any search you want. At the center is your create button with the plus. So this is where you'll actually create your TikToks, and we'll cover that a little bit more later. And then to the right of that, you move on to your inbox. This is not only your inbox, it's going to show you notifications in general. So you've got your followers, your likes, your comments, mentions, really any type of engagement you receive, you're going to see a notification pop up right there. And then you've also got your profile, which is the far right icon. And you could probably guess it leads you back to your profile. So you can tap on edit profile once you're in your profile view, and that's where you can make some changes to your own profile and also see your detailed account settings and things like that. Okay, so we've got the Discover tab as well. So we're just going to dive into that a little bit more. The hashtags, the sounds, and the effects that you're able to view in this view. So this allows you to see kind of trending content in general and trending content within those categories. So hashtags is going to show you content that's getting a lot of engagement. There's one right now that's really popular, is still hashtag working from home. So that makes sense. A lot of us are still working from home. Especially Australia with the charming weather we're getting right now, you're probably working from home. So that's definitely like a trend you might expect, but you're going to see a whole variety of trends in the different hashtag sections. You'll also see trending sounds. So you can see that kind of music icon on the screen for the driver's license song. So trending sounds is going to show you sounds that are, audio clips as well as music. And sounds are a really key part of TikTok, the TikTok experience. So you'll see that, there's a lot of lip syncing type of scenes, as well as just, music clips that are used throughout TikTok and all of the content available on the platform. A lot of times the trending sounds will be music that's coming from like a newly released film, but it may also just be something that's resurfaced. I've seen a trending sound that came from Vine, and they'll just use, the dialogue that was from a Vine, and that'll recirculate again, or perhaps even like an old song. So it does indicate something that's trending currently. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be something that's brand new. So you've got all of those. You also have trending effects. So this would just be like a trending filter or something that you can use in that way. That's usually pretty interactive. Maybe it's something that changes your look on screen. It could be, an effect that actually shows up when you use the filter. A lot of times there's like a spinning wheel that's, maybe predictions for 2022, and it lands on one and you see the user reacting. A trend like that or an effect like that will often trend at that time of year. If it's a New Year's kind of filter, you're going to see that probably trending at the end of the year and that sort of thing. So it's definitely, it's really unique how TikTok sort of curates this content in the Discover tab. You can definitely see content that's getting engagement, based on all of these different effects. And it's really nice. It's just a really easy way to search and see what's going on, what's relevant right now, what's popular, what should I be using. And it's a great way to know how you can hop on board and get involved in something that's trending. There's no like massive mystery around it. You can get to that information pretty quickly on TikTok. You can also, again, use that Discover tab to just find other users, or to look up sounds that you want to use yourself. You're not limited to using these trending items, but it is very helpful because, as we'll cover later, trends are a massive part of using TikTok as an app. So we will continue going from there and discussing our advantages for organizations. So it's very easy to think about TikTok predominantly as this sort of solo user experience, but there are certainly a lot of advantages for organizations and for brands. And to start off with, we have growing an audience is massive. TikTok is the most downloaded app from last year. It's got 4 billion users now, which is really, really impressive given how, new the app still is relatively. So as I mentioned, it is flattening out in terms of its audience. It's not all Gen Z, but still leaning that way a bit. But you also have, you've got the unique creative tools. You can still create content that's super unique, that's not looking like everybody else's. You can stitch together videos, and you can just basically publish your content a lot differently than you can on other platforms. So it's a really interesting way to be creating content straight from your smartphone. You don't have to be very well versed in all of these other fancy editing apps or video editing tools. It's something that anyone can do just sitting right on their phone and still reach a massive audience, which is great. TikTok also really helps humanize a brand, kind of hinging off of that point. It really will depend on what your social media marketing objectives are. But if you are looking to potentially humanize your brand and connect with your audience in that way, you can seem, a lot more approachable due to the fact that the content isn't so polished. It doesn't look like this high production quality advertisement that you'd see on TV. It's not like a commercial. It very much looks like the everyday person creating content. And it may have a production team behind it, but it can still give off that vibe, which is a really great way to connect with people, and particularly that Gen Z audience, if you are looking to connect with the Gen Z population as your target audience. There's really no better platform than TikTok right now. So this is definitely where they're creating, bulk of their content, where they're spending the bulk of their time. But as we talk about Gen Z as well, kind of jumped ahead there, but they are really, really good at sniffing out, and some of you may be Gen Z yourselves, I'm not sure, but they're really good at sniffing out like BS content. They know what is, pushing it, what's trying too hard, what just seems inauthentic. So you want to make sure that you're being very, very authentic with your approach when you're creating content, and don't try too hard, because they definitely will tell. And then there's just a couple of additional features that, with TikTok can help to increase engagement. So I mentioned you have some of these tools that are like duets and allowing you to have a video response in comments. So we're going to talk through a bunch of those as we go today. But basically, like a stitch, for example, someone can take the first part of your video and they can stitch on a response video themselves. So you've got this really awesome form of engagement that goes far beyond the traditional likes and comments and that structure we've seen for so many years on every social media platform. The engagement on TikTok is super unique, and it allows for participation, which is something we've definitely never had on any platform. So that's really, really exciting, particularly for brands. And then we do have paid promotions as well. So like with any social channel, TikTok has, begun to monetize. So there's opportunities for, paid posts and a few other paid opportunities that we'll cover in a bit more, detail later on. But there's a lot of advantages for organizations when it comes to this. And even though the platform is still quite new, it's definitely really advantageous for brands to try and hop on, particularly because a lot of brands still aren't on TikTok yet. So it's a great, exciting opportunity. If you can get your organization on TikTok, you could potentially, be one of the leaders in your field, or still be taking advantage of that, that rise of the platform. So we're going to get into TikTok Pro accounts now. So there is there's a few different types of accounts you can actually set up when you are setting up your profile on TikTok. So you can switch between these types of accounts after your account is set up as well, but you definitely can select it as you start. The three types of accounts are personal, creator, and business. So personal is just a very basic account. It doesn't really offer anything. There's no analytics tools. There's no advanced functionality here. But the latter two, the creator and the business, are what's considered a pro account. So each of these have their own kind of advantages, which I'll get into. But pro accounts are definitely very distinct from personal accounts. So for a marketer, it's essential that you have a pro account. This is the only way you're going to access insights and analytics around your activity, as well as be able to access some of those paid ad options and a few other features as well. So definitely, you don't even consider the personal, you're going to be using the pro accounts. But you may be wondering, do I use the creator account or do I use the business account? So I'll break that down a little bit as well. Whereas with the business account, this is designed for businesses. So you've got a business on screen here. This is definitely to help businesses connect with their customers. So it's aimed towards that kind of impersonal side of things. You're really trying to maybe sell a product or a service. It's designed to help people know, about your products and services, as opposed to maybe promoting yourself as an individual. So you will have this features. You see the link in the bio. That is a trademark feature for pro accounts. So having the ability to add your website link, maybe a landing page or a product page, a blog, a lot of different things you could, put there. But having the, ability to add that link is a huge advantage. You can also link your other social media to your account. So you can see that the Instagram account here is linked. So that's really helpful for businesses as well. You can cross promote that way. You can send people, you can actually action them and send them across to your Instagram if you're looking to grow that platform simultaneously. So with the business account, you do have all of that flexibility. And you can also see a lot of statistics and insights about your customer groups, things like their age and their interests, and their frequency and things like that. But there is a limit that's, an important one for the business versus the creator. And that is, you cannot access all of the sounds on a business account because it is viewing you as a commercial, like kind of endeavor. You're not able to access all of the trending sounds on the platform. So all of your content is treated as commercial, and it can't use very many of the popular sounds and songs. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. But for a creator account, you again have the ability to add some of these elements to your profile. You can add that link in bio. You can also access individual analytics and the full suite of sounds, which is great, but you can't use paid ads as a creator account. So it's kind of tricky. And it definitely, I think those two, I think you really need to ask yourself the question of, is this account promoting me, like myself, the individual, or is it promoting my business with products and services? And that'll be the ultimate deciding factor. If you are only running paid ads once in a while on TikTok, I would advise maybe using the creator account, and then you can switch to the business account. Actually, for a temporary time, run an ad campaign and then switch back. So there's like a sneaky workaround that you can actually do if you want to take advantage of the full sound suite, but you also want to be able to run paid ads here and there. However, if you're running ads all the time, then that would be chaos. So I definitely would not recommend doing that. But yeah, and just a quick glance at the profile. It has very similar elements to what you've seen on other social media. So you can see the number of following and you can see the number of followers. However, it also shows you the number of likes that the content on this account has received. So that's the total number of likes, which is kind of a really cool stat that's included right there at the top. So again, it really focuses on that engagement piece and kind of showing how popular your actual content is. Definitely moving away from the sort of fake Instagram, like blown up numbers with fake followers. I know they're cracking down on that a lot, but you did have that for a few years where it was buying likes, buying followers. This is very different. You're not really able to do that on this app, and you can see right at the top what is the engagement for this account. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, as you can see, they're taking advantage of everything they can with their bio. And we're going to break down kind of next how you want to really optimize your bio as well when you're marketing, yourself or your brand on this platform. Okay, so you definitely need to make a good impression with your profile on TikTok. This can be very much the deciding factor between a user following you or just stepping away. And having that, optimized profile can actually, help to increase your engagement, and it can lead to sales and brand awareness and things like that. You actually are only limited to 80 characters in your TikTok bio, so you definitely can't go on and ramble in it. You need to be very concise. So you want to ask yourself, what message do I want to convey to visitors landing on my page? And you have to be very, very clear with that. That needs to guide kind of how you set things up. So when you start off with, you want to upload your profile picture. If you are an individual creator, like the woman we see on the screen, I would say a good picture of yourself is perfect. Ideally something that's like more of your face, so you are recognizable. If you're a brand, you'd probably want to have a consistent, logo, brand colors, that type of thing appearing here. And definitely, if you already have a pretty good following on some of your other social media platforms, stick with the same imagery because people are going to recognize you. And if that's the picture that they are used to seeing when they're on your YouTube channel or on Instagram, you want to maintain that consistency and keep that, clearly identifiable to your audience who might be searching for you. So when you're going into your bio, definitely to start off with, you want to describe your account or your brand. So kind of what's your thing? What are you offering? Are you a photographer? Are you offering video game hacks? Are you a restaurant? Like, let people know what it is you do and what you are. And definitely use language that's kind of fun and engaging, and really conveys your brand's purpose. You don't want to rely just on your content to give followers an idea of what it is you do. The reason that that's dangerous is because if they see one video of yours that's maybe a little bit off brand, maybe you're talking about a different topic for once, or kind of participating in a little bit of a fun challenge that's not exactly in line with your usual content, they're going to judge your page off of that. So they might have the totally wrong idea of what it is that you do. So you really want to make sure your bio is clear, because people may come back to that and be like, okay, I know what to expect from this brand or this person. I know what it is they do. And along that note, you want to keep it concise. You have that character limit, but you want to boil down the information to exactly what people need to know, and communicate your brand really quickly to your audience and highlight the most important things. You could even put location as well. If you want to, let's say you are a salon or a restaurant and you want people to know where to find you, you might want to add that. Just anything that's really vital. You can also use emojis. You can see here that she does have an emoji there. Just something that can even help shorten the bio a little bit, can be really useful. It saves you some space and also keeps it looking a little less text heavy. It's just kind of nice visually. So again, if you're a photographer, maybe throw in the camera emoji. It can also indicate an action, like here, kind of email me. Here's the emoji for the email, as opposed to writing all of that out. And you definitely want to add a call to action. This will tell your visitors kind of exactly what to do to best contact you and interact with you. So, either that could be going to your website, or maybe it is, asking for them to email you, or perhaps just going to another of your social channels. But make sure you're taking advantage and putting a call to action. And along with that, adding a link. This is why we want to make sure you have a pro account. You have to take advantage of having that link, because it is, it really makes a difference. And you can get people off of TikTok onto other platforms, which is huge. So make sure that you think about that. If you want multiple links to be promoted, you can always use something like Linktree, which will allow you to put multiple links within kind of one link. It'll be bundled in together. So you can definitely promote, your website as well as your YouTube channel and other things in there. There are other third-party services, but Linktree seems to be kind of the most popular amongst users on TikTok. Okay, so this is just a little activity to get us chatting. Just kind of asking which brands or creators some of you follow. You can go ahead and write it in the chat box. Just kind of curious to see, the type of content you guys are looking for on TikTok, if you are on there at all. I know for me, I love a lot of comedy content. So I've got a lot of like throwback comedians who do things like the horrible clothes that we wore in 2011 and things like that. Just gives me a little moment to cringe. So yeah, I'd just be curious to see what kind of content you guys are enjoying on TikTok right now. Yeah, DIY memes, cooking. Cooking is great. Honestly, I got an air fryer, and it's because of TikTok. I wouldn't have otherwise, but now I'm loving it, and I use so much of my recipes is all from TikTok, really. Yeah, and then see, there's a ton of different. You can go all the way from comedy and memes to kind of like counseling, self-help. Like, the range of content is really, really interesting that's available on the app. And I think that's another thing that makes it, so appealing. there is something for everyone. There is a different niche you can explore. And as you get deeper into it, TikTok keeps serving you more content and you'll just find more and more of whatever your interests are. Yep, small businesses, dance, yeah, ton of dance. That was definitely, you know, kind of the main drive of the app at the beginning. It was like dance challenges 24/7, but I think we've certainly moved on a little bit from that. Okay, great. Thanks for sharing some of that, you guys. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so just another interesting quote here. This is coming from the general manager of TikTok in Australia. So he's just saying, brands we see having the most success are those who embrace the creativity and authenticity of the TikTok community. So as we already touched on, you know, there's nothing worse than trying to appeal to especially a Gen Z audience and trying too hard with your marketing. Just being authentic and creating, you know, creative content really on TikTok is the best. It's going to be the most well embraced. It can be time consuming if you aren't naturally a creative person particularly, but the more that you just create content and you practice it and you watch other great content, the more ideas you're going to start naturally having. Definitely consuming content is super, super helpful because you do see the variety of what's out there. You get an idea of what might work for you and maybe how to create, you know, your own individual twist on it. Okay, so we do have a video that goes through the step-by-step of creating TikToks. Just for technical reasons, didn't embed that today. So we can send that to you guys afterwards and you can follow the steps, but I'll just like verbally run through very quick version. It's pretty simple to create and post. Again, you're going to start by tapping that plus button that we saw before, and it's going to let you adjust your settings, and you can actually decide, you know, the length of video you want to create straight away. And then you're going to get this display screen that shows you different buttons kind of on the right that let you choose the effects and the sounds and different things. So it's all right there. You don't have to go digging for it. It's going to be prompted straight away. So when you want to use a video effect, you're just going to tap the effects button on the screen. And, you know, it's to the left of the record button. Sorry, it's a bit blurry, so you might not be able to read that. But when you select effects, there's going to be a menu that pops up, and then you can just preview different effects. You can actually use them out before you select it to publish. So you can trial them a little bit, and then you can, you know, choose an effect you want to use. And next, you're going to be able to pick your audio as well. So this will let you choose from those trending sounds that we talked about. You can also use a sound from someone else's video, or just search for a specific sound that maybe you want to use. And then after you've done all of that, you've chosen music, you've chosen effects, you're going to be able to film your video. And something really cool about TikTok is that you can film your videos a clip at a time without disrupting the audio that you've chosen. So you can just like stop or start again. You can redo sections of the video. You can get it all down until you're really happy with it. And once you are set kind of recording it and you've got it to where you like, then you can add in those texts and those other effects, the text and things that go on top, like stickers, all of those effects that kind of lay on top of the video. So this is, again, really great to use, especially the text on the video, because just remember that at the bottom of your screen, you will be seeing that caption, and we'll get more into captions later. So when you are placing effects and text on your video, just remember there's going to be a caption that shows up while the video is playing. So you want to just be mindful of your placements, probably closer to the center of the screen. And yeah, once you've added in your text and your sound effects, that's when you'll add that caption and any other hashtags that you want to use with it. So you can just go ahead and pop in a few relevant hashtags. TikTok will actually give you some suggestions while you're typing for hashtags as well. So this can help you tapping into some more popular hashtags and topics that are being discussed. And you will also, before you publish, be able to select the privacy on your video. So you can choose whether or not TikTok users can comment, and choose whether or not they can like duet or stitch the video, which is again kind of using your video and remaking it in their own way. We would definitely say it's a good idea to allow for that engagement, especially as a brand. If you are encouraging, you want that engagement, you want people to get involved and participate in your content. So probably best to try and leave that, available for comments and available for stitches and duets and things. And you can even, save the TikTok before you post it if you want to reuse it, maybe on Instagram. But you can also share it to select apps as well. So then you'll just push the publish button or the post button and publish it from there. So everything's really prompted, really easy, really done within the app. It shouldn't be, too tough to figure out. All right. But what can be tricky is deciding what kind of content you're going to make. I think this is the biggest roadblock for everyone. You're like, okay, I'm familiar with the app, I've seen some content, but I just don't know what it is I want to be doing. And particularly if it's for a brand, you might just think, I have no idea how to make my company or my brand translate onto TikTok. Like, how can that possibly work? So if you scale back, it's a lot easier to create content when you think about some of these little pillars that you should be really invoking through your content. So the most important thing to do is to provide value to your audience. And you can do that in, 3 different ways. You can educate them, you can entertain them, and you can inspire them. So a lot of those, different channel or creators that you mentioned following before, are doing a few of those things. You've got the dancing, which is entertainment. You've got maybe some of the counseling, self-help to inspire. You've got education, cooking channels, things like that. A lot of really popular content, you will notice, can easily fall within these categories. And sometimes really great content might actually be a mixture of a few of them or all 3 of them. So to educate your audience is to, teach them something they don't know, provide them with expertise. What are you an expert at? You can impart some knowledge and some wisdom onto your audience. There's like a pool cleaning company that's gotten super popular just by showing how they're cleaning pools. And I would say that actually goes between entertainment and education, because it's very satisfying to watch something that's incredibly dirty be cleaned. We just love that as humans. I don't quite know why, but it is super satisfying. But it's also educational because they're showing us different things, different ways to kind of clean and take care of these, pools and backyards that we didn't maybe know about. So that's a really good example. Entertainment, very, obvious. You've got the dancing and singing and all of that kind of different entertainment. And then inspiring is, that's often telling stories of people that can be within your organizations even. So you could tell stories about your customers that are really inspirational, or things that might, be engaging to your audience. Maybe, a customer success story, or, if you're a personal trainer, this could be showing a customer's journey, or a nutritionist, and you can see kind of transformations, things like that, that would really inspire your audience. Now, with that said, TikTok's definitely really entertainment based. I would say that's probably, that element kind of is filtered into everything, into all of its content right now. So you want to make sure you always have a bit of the entertainment piece in all of the content that you're creating. At least when you're getting started, it will definitely help, I think, you to gain some traction on the app. So that's just something to note. And then, we'll get a little bit more into the convincing. You see that on the screen here. This is about the fact that at the end of the day, you're probably looking to get your audience to sign up for something, or to buy something, or to join, or whatever your actual kind of motive is. So we want to remember that we're providing this value to the audience, but there is, that piece that you need to, take the next step and convince them. We are marketers. We are trying to achieve that on this platform. So we'll kind of dig into that a little bit more, but that is an end goal. You just can't get to the convincing stage without providing some value first. Okay, so we were just going to go through looking at some of your, there we go. We've got the poll popped up. Looking at 5 posts in your feed and just kind of seeing, do they entertain, educate, or inspire? So if you just quickly open the app, if you've got it downloaded, you can also maybe do it on a computer, but probably on your phone. Just look at the first couple of posts and see what it is that they're predominantly doing. I'll check mine as well. Okay, yep. So we are already, at the majority of responding, entertaining. Yeah. So as I said, that it just kind of is still the norm for this platform. It is an entertainment-based platform, so it is definitely something to keep in mind as you create your own content as well. All right, so now we're gonna get into that convince element a little bit more. So you do have that aim to potentially sell or whatever the exact aim is. And as we already mentioned a few times, we know that we've got a very switched on smart audience here. Gen Z's not going to be tricked. They know what marketing is. They grew up in the age of internet. They've been bombarded with it. So oftentimes, we look at social media marketing and we're just thinking about the advertising side of things, but make sure you pause and you think about hitting either the entertainment, education, or inspiration first. And again, there's different ways you can hit that creativity piece as well. That can even be through transitions. So you're seeing on the left side of the screen a video that has a really creative transition from that room into the pool. That can be accomplished through other types of videos, even like cooking videos. We see it all the time. They're in the middle of cooking, you have a quick transition, and suddenly you see a fully prepared finished product, the full meal. There's a lot of different ways that you can be creative with your content. Hashtag challenges as well. These could be branded where people, who have an organization, they can even pay to have a populated, hashtag. But also hashtag challenges, that can be something organic entirely, like a skateboarder a little while ago was doing one where he was just going down the street skateboarding and also like drinking juice. And it spurred a lot of people to create, there was this challenge created and they were imitating it and doing their own take on it. There's a lot, you've probably seen a lot of funny challenges that have taken off. So sometimes it's just completely organic and there's not even any effort really put behind that, but it's something to keep in mind. And again, we've got this dancing. We know that's a popular element. A little plug for Social Media College. We had a member of our team get married, and so the team attended. I was not with Social Media College yet, so unfortunately I'm not in this video, but it did actually kind of go a little bit viral. Using like a trending song for that video. So it was even successful, for our team there. So that was a fun way to use it. Adding a bit of humor into the app is always great. It can be something really subtle and small that's just a tiny touch of humor onto your video. Lip syncing is still, very popular for both music and audio. It allows people to create their own scene from, some familiar audio even. And then there's also this kind of oddly pleasing content I mentioned a bit before. So you've got like a slice of cake being cut perfectly or that pool being cleaned, things like that. It's stuff you never would have maybe thought could be interesting, but I mean, is really interesting to people, is really engaging. So it's kind of hitting that ASMR style. And then, stickers and text add a lot. Again, it can contribute to humor a lot. You have text appear on the screen as like a little bit of a reveal. It kind of is like a punchline. So there's a lot of different ways you can use creative to make your, content more engaging and more interesting. So that just gives you a couple of ideas. Just try to remember whatever you're doing, make it as, dynamic and appealing as you possibly can. And you can also follow other creators who are doing creative things themselves to get that inspiration. Take that list and think about it, but also look to what other people are doing. Think about ways that you could maybe, take their concept and repurpose it for yourself. That's something that happens a lot on the app. There's no shame in it. Like that is definitely how a lot of these trends get started, of course. So it is a platform where you can, do that. And you are expected to have more engaging videos on TikTok than maybe any other platform. So it's worth trying to come up with some ideas. Okay, so another great way that we can leverage TikTok as a brand is to use user-generated content. You may be familiar with that concept coming over from Instagram. So this is where we're encouraging our audience to create content on our behalf. And we're looking at different ways that we can, kind of curate it from them. So this is a really cool example where Nivea just had a challenge themselves. They promoted it in their bio. You can see with the hashtag Nivea Splash or Share to Care. So they actually, promote this challenge. They're encouraging people to utilize their hashtag. And then they go and find people by searching the hashtag and sending them a really simple message. They can see anyone who has, created content under their hashtag, and all they're kind of reaching out and saying like, hey, we'd love to feature your video in a TikTok advertisement. Let us know if you're cool to be featured. And most people are going to say yes. It is obviously advantageous for them as well, because they're going to be featured on a brand's page. It's a little bit more exposure for them. So it kind of does work to benefit both parties, which is a great aspect of user-generated content. And another thing that, using user-generated content does is create that organic look to your company's page. You look approachable, you look real, because it's real people that are being featured on your page. It's not this produced corporate commercial look. So this is a great idea of how to, really appeal again to your audience. And also some of your audience might have great, interesting, creative ideas. So you can really take advantage of that. As we said before, it can be hard to come up with ideas. So if you kind of inspire users to create content for you, they may come up with some, really awesome videos, and then you're able to use them on your page. All right, so then, we'll get into the copy aspect as well. So you really do want to make sure that you nail that copy. It's at the bottom of your TikTok displayed, the captions while you're watching TikTok. So a couple things to note is you are limited to 100 characters. So this is a bit more restrictive than, a lot of other platforms. You really want to choose your words wisely. And, unless the content is super people are probably rarely going to read the content in the caption. So you do want to keep it concise. Unless the content really requires a further explanation, try to keep the words down to as few as possible, because it is going to be covering that bottom half of your video. It can be a little bit distracting. So try to really limit it to, the hashtags you want to use, keywords, because again, users can search for content in hashtags or just word searches. So you want to use some keywords maybe. But yeah, hashtags are really important because people do research those quite a lot. They can be popularized quite a bit. You can definitely research these, see what's trending, and try to use those hashtags to your advantage. And then keywords, like I said, think about your audience. What are they going to be searching for? So try to use those keywords in your caption. It's always important to think about how your audience will be talking. And if you're using any of that user-generated content, maybe you're mentioning a collaborator, something like that, you should definitely mention their account. You can do that with the mention. Definitely make sure that you've given them that credit, but do remember it does count towards your 100 characters. So just try to keep all of that in mind, keep your caption short and to the point, and really save room for the important things, which are the hashtags, the keywords, and then any relevant mentions. All right, so now we have mentioned quite a few times that TikTok is a trend-based platform. It's bread and butter for the app. So we've talked about this already. If you want to build audience and exposure, you definitely might want to take advantage of leveraging some trends. So we've got, this is from a little while ago. This is Telstra, 2 different examples of how they've leveraged trends. I'm not sure if these, I'm going to try to play these. You don't really need the audio. Okay, so kind of just an entertaining piece there. This was like a trend that was going on a little while ago of using these tortillas and filling them with different ingredients. So they jumped in there and filled it with these old school mobile phones. And jumped on this challenge to make a really quirky video for themselves. Another video, which I won't play on the right here, but it's a video, it's the what's a video that lives in your head rent free, which was another trend that you probably still see quite a bit on TikTok. So you've got part of the video showing the user reacting, and then you see immediately after it, the video that's the original video they're reacting to. So in this case, we've got this girl here. She filmed herself quickly and then shows an old Telstra ad. And it's just this kind of funny old Telstra ad that probably wouldn't have gotten any traction if it was posted on its own. But because of the fact that she's added her face to this, and you've seen this user element into repurposing this ad, it's a really great way for Telstra to kind of get their ad out there again in a different, more approachable way. They're not just shoving their ad in your face. If they repost her video now, it's free advertising for them, but it looks a little bit more organic. So definitely, jumping on trends. And the way that you have to do that, again, is to allow users to have that engagement. So they have to be allowed to interact with your videos by duetting and stitching. So we're going to get a little bit more into that, I believe, later. But basically, you've got duets, which allow you to kind of put two videos together side by side. And then the user can take someone else's video and interact with it. And then you've got stitches, which again is kind of the before and after sort of video effect, where they're just taking a clip of yours and merging it with theirs. So this is, another really interesting way to kind of leverage some trends to your advantage. Okay, so then you definitely need to be active in the community on TikTok. Engagement is a huge part of this app, just like it is with really every social media app. This is something that, is kind of social media marketing 101. We're all pretty familiar, but of course, if people comment, reply. That is huge. And you always want to make sure that you're, engaging with them. You're allowing them to comment on your videos. So again, the duets and the stitches that we just talked about, it's a really great way to find breathe a new life into some old content that you created. And it's similar to kind of, having like branded hashtags and getting people to create their own content for you. Also remember though, with the duets and the stitch, if you do allow for that to happen, be very mindful of the content you're creating, because you are giving people the ability to take your content and do what they want with it. So they can definitely manipulate that a little bit. So just be very mindful what you've made. And then you can also actually have this little video response option as well, where you can reply to a comment with a video response. This is very cool. It does count as like another post of its own. So you want to be, utilizing that in a very creative and unique way. Very, very much mindful when you're using those video responses. And then make sure that you're actively engaging with your audience and creators on their content as well. And, actually executing some outbound engagement where you go and, you see what they're creating, you see what content is trending, you engage with other people. You want to comment back on their content as well, and like their content, maybe go follow them. It's not enough just to stay on your page and be like, thank you so much for liking my video. You need to actually go and see what they're doing. And then they're like, oh my gosh, they care, they're engaged with the community. Like this is a huge piece of it. And when you do that, you're probably also gonna, increase your exposure, because you're going to be visible then, commenting on other people's videos and things. So you are opening yourself up to actually building your audience and gaining more followers by doing this. And then finally, you just want to make sure you're making content. TikTok is one of those apps where you can really, you're not going to bombard people because they have this constant scroll with their timeline. So what's really awesome is you can be making quite a lot of content and putting it out there on TikTok. Not everyone's going to see every single thing you've made. You can post multiple times per day, but the layout of the app means that you're not probably going to be, you don't have to fear overwhelming your audience too much. So definitely make sure that you're creating content. And if possible, try to create your content in bulk beforehand. We always talk about batch producing content no matter what the platform is. You don't want to be scrambling to get things up. You want to have quality content and you want to have it made ahead of time. So you actually do now have the ability to schedule videos in TikTok with their video scheduler feature. That's again only accessible with a pro account. So you can schedule a post up to 10 days in advance. So this is a really great way to stay organized. Make sure you're staying on top of your content creation. Post out at least 10 days in advance, and then you can just stay on top of it and be regularly putting out content onto the feed. And let's see. Oh, and make sure, of course, as well, you're always using your right hashtags and keywords. But when you match that with engaging with your audience, you'll definitely, see some growth. Okay, and then just getting a little bit into, TikTok advertising. There are ways to, do these paid ads and to advertise on TikTok. So you can definitely do this on, a variety of ads. There's in-feed ads, which are very similar to ads you see on Facebook, Instagram, other apps. They pop up in the newsfeed. So the example on the left with Pepsi isn't the best example because it does seem they've repurposed that ad from maybe another platform like Instagram. It's in the square, it's not full screen. But again, it does look like they might be driving people off of the app. That might actually be their goal here. So that could potentially work, but it's not exactly what we would advise. But then on the right, you've got an example of an advertisement for an app. It's encouraging you to download it and install it. So with these in-feed ads, you can also add in branded effects. So you can have like that, alternate reality feature on cameras that have like your logo kind of or something, or colors, or create those like little filters and things like that. If you want to add that in to reach out to your audience that way and engage them. You can also have an ad that's kind of like a takeover ad, which serves basically like a roadblock getting to the TikTok app. Essentially, it fills up the whole screen. So when you open your app, you're going to see that you have to actually click out of the ad. These are things that you would have to have, of course, some money behind. They can be a little bit expensive for sure, but there are those options. And certainly that pop-up ad, it gives you 60 seconds. You can deliver a little bit more detailed messaging, and you are forcing people to click skip to get to the actual platform that way. Other advertising options, again, it's the branded hashtag challenges that we've spoken about. So you've got to definitely have a really, compelling reason for people to get involved in your hashtag. So people aren't just gonna randomly be like, yes, let me join every hashtag challenge I see. I'm gonna just, throw on the company logo and go for it. Like you need to be kind of offering something. So be really careful about the incentive, but make sure that there is some incentive behind that, especially if you're not a huge company with a huge presence yet. People aren't gonna, that can be enough for a massive company, and the chance to be reposted on an account with 1 million followers is probably incentive enough. But if you're a little bit smaller, a little bit newer, you might need to add an additional incentive. And then, so again, trying to think about things from an organic point of view when you're getting started. You do have these paid options, but again, it can just be quite expensive. So do think about definitely layering in all of your organic opportunity as well, to kind of start reaching out to your influencers. And just remember, when it comes to advertising, and if you want to work with influencers and things like that, people are very skeptical of influencers. I think that you need to find the right person, and you definitely want to make sure that the creative is something that's a little bit more believable. I think Instagram, unfortunately, went in the direction of a lot of seeing people just hold a product and they don't use them. So definitely make sure if you're using influencers on this app that it's something really fun and engaging that they're creating. And then, at least though with the ads, people have gotten pretty used to seeing ads, so don't be afraid of using them, but just do think about organic opportunities as well as paid opportunities. Okay, and then to kind of wrap it up here, just going quickly into the fact that with your TikTok Pro account, you can measure analytics. So you have these insights, which is a really great advantage. The way to get to your analytics, you're just going to go back to your profile, as I mentioned, and you're going to go to the top right corner, pretty standard, open your settings and privacy. And then under accounts, you're going to see a creator tools tab. So from there, you can select your analytics, and it's broken up into these 3 categories. You've got your overview, which is going to give you general data around the overall performance of your TikTok account. This is like total video and profile views, follower growth, etc. This covers 7 or 28 days. Content analytics are going to help you evaluate the success of TikToks you've already published. So it's going to give you data and information around individual posts, and then you can kind of identify which content's working and what isn't. So you can definitely break this into a few different metrics. You can look at engagement, play time, total views, things like that. And then followers is going to give you a lot of information on your TikTok audience around maybe gender, age, location, some of these interesting metrics. And it's going to help you, kind of fine tune elements around when you're posting your content and the topics for your videos and things like that. If you see that you have, a predominantly Australian based audience, you're going to probably want to, post things in Australian time. That's something that you should definitely be, wary of. So it's, definitely a great indication of how is your content performing, but make sure you're always taking it back to your strategy. You need to have a strategy in place for your marketing on TikTok, just like any other platform, and kind of ask yourself, what are your objectives and what are we trying to achieve, and are we achieving that? So always compare those measurement and those analytics back to your objectives. It's the only way they really hold any meaning for you. But it is very insightful and helpful to have access to this. So yeah, that kind of wraps up everything from my end. It's been really great to be able to share a bit about TikTok marketing with all of you. And it's been very fun to discuss the platform today. We are leaving you with a little bit of just an action plan. We like to leave this at the end of our workshops, just to give you something to motivate you to move on from this workshop with. So just a couple of things you can do. Just try and, connect with someone you might need to, plan a meeting, look into something that you need to want to learn a little bit more about, finish a project or start a project. So just a few great key reminders that we probably all need, especially at the end of the week. It's like, have we finished everything that we needed to get done? But so that's just something to take away with you. But we will move into, I think, a little bit of a Q&A if you guys want to submit any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalia. That was really fascinating, like such a great webinar. We do have a lot of great questions. The first one was about whether this webinar is going to be recorded. Yes, it is, and it will be available on the APC YouTube channel from tomorrow. So if you head to Australian Pacific College on YouTube and then you go to the playlist Masterclasses, you'll find this webinar from tomorrow. Okay, first question. Is TikTok good to generate sales in a business? For example, a pest control company. How would you market that on TikTok? Is that the right platform?
Absolutely. I think what's exciting about TikTok is that it can be the right platform for just about any business. So kind of as we covered the that oddly satisfying pool cleaning company, you've got a pest control company. Doesn't necessarily sound like the most appealing, type of company maybe to have on a visual platform. But when you think about kind of again that entertain, educate, inspire. How interesting to actually be sharing some tips with people on how to manage pest control on their own. What are some great things they could be practicing at home? You can target different seasons of the year where different pests might be a bit of an issue. There's a lot you can do with education that will draw in an audience, and then from there you can absolutely weave in promoting your own products and services.
Awesome. What kind of content can you post on TikTok to make a company look formal and prevent embarrassing situations with company members? I guess, how do you stay formal yet stay on TikTok?
Yeah, definitely. You can certainly achieve a fine line. And I think what's great is you can take some traditional kind of company type videos like behind the scenes or interviews, and you can just make them a little bit more interactive and engaging. You don't need to add anything that's crass or anything that's too maybe inappropriately trending, but just having clips of an interview with someone within the company, or a fun behind the scenes of your workplace or work events, and making sure you're adding on those text elements and those stickers. You can add in some trending sounds, as we showed from Social Media College. We did that with our wedding team video. So it doesn't have to be anything inappropriate, but just think about heightening the kind of dynamic elements you put into the video.
Okay, great. This is a great question from Cynthia. She said, is it better to create a video directly within TikTok instead of using a third-party app like Canva?
I think that really comes down to user preference. I don't think that there's any advantage one way or the other. if you are, comfortable, you can, as we said, use a lot of the, you can stop, you can pause, you can go back, you can do a lot within the app natively. But if you're someone who really enjoys kind of creating on another platform like Canva and you're comfortable doing that, then I would say stick with what you enjoy doing the most.
Okay. Are there any risks as a brand when we're using other people's creative videos or content in our ads or in our feed videos? Is it a simple, okay, you can use my video message? Is that legally binding to avoid image or copyright disputes? That's a very good question.
Yeah, so again, I think it comes down to the type of account that you have set up. So if you do have a creator account, you're going to have the ability to post any of the videos with any sounds that are available on TikTok. You will have some restrictions, I believe, even reposting if you are under a business account and you're not given approval for that particular audio. In terms of gaining permission, generally a message really should suffice so long as you've clearly explained where you're going to be using that video. Like, hey, we are going to be posting this advertisement on, in our feed, or, exactly how you're going to be using it. As long as you have that consent back from them, that should be fine. You could definitely probably look into further legalities beyond that, but in terms of general use, that is kind of the way it works.
Okay, great. And just one more question. In paid advertising, can you do it monthly? Because I think this student is doing a TikTok campaign for their small business. And they have the option of only weekly posts. Is there any other way you can do it to have a campaign running for a month?
I'm actually not sure about that, if you can do monthly. So that is definitely something we could follow back up with them on. If they're able to send their email through, we can look into that for them.
Okay, great. So yes, we will be sending out a follow-up email after this webinar. We're going to include the recording and also a few Q&A questions. There'll also be some resource links there for you to look at. And just finally, guys, we have a really exciting competition that we're about to launch for our social media marketing students. So I know a lot of you are studying social media marketing. In that email, in that follow-up email, you're going to receive more information about this great competition that will be running for all of March. So you'll be asked in this competition to create a video basically talking about why you love studying social media marketing, why it's so great for you, and what you've gotten out of the course. And you will go in the draw to win a vlogging kit, which will be presented to you from Social Media College. So it's really exciting. We will be sending you out that link. But yeah, just to get you excited about this new competition, I wanted to let you know about it, okay? So thank you so much to Natalia for presenting to us today. It was so insightful. It was brilliant. We all loved it, I'm sure.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. It was so great to be able to share and speak with you.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And I can see some really nice comments coming in the chat, thanking you and then saying it was great and they really loved it. So yeah, if you know anyone else who studies social media marketing, let them know that this great video can be found on our YouTube channel. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.